Good morning, I'm Devika Chopra and this is our rolling coverage of the last and final leg of the Jammu and Kashmir elections. Remember, 40 seats are in the fray as far as this phase is concerned. 24 in the Jammu region and the remaining in Kashmir. Over 200 candidates' fates will be sealed by the voters who continue to pour out in large numbers to exercise their right to vote. On that note, I hop across to my colleague Ashik Mir, who joins me from the ground with a voter. Ashik, over to you.
Well, Devika, we are at the Handwara historical battlefield. If we say it's a contest between Sajjad Lone, who is the chairman of People's Conference, and we have some voters with us who can speak on the different issues. आप मुझे बताइए, आज आप वोट डालने के लिए आए हैं, क्या क्या इश्यूज है इस इलाके में, थोड़ा सा हमारे साथ शेयर करें।
जी सर, पहले हम आपका शुक्रिया अदा करते हैं, आपने अपना कीमती वक्त यहाँ पे निकाला और हंदवारा के हिस्टोरिकल सरजमीन पे आप आज पहली दफा आए। तो सर, हमारा मकसद यही है कि हम बेरोजगारी से लड़ेंगे और हम इलेक्ट करेंगे एक अच्छी सी हुकूमत को जो हमारे लिए सूटेबल रहे, जो हमारे मसाइल हल करे, हमारे मसाइलों का हल हमें बताए कि कहाँ हमें जाना है, हम गलत रास्ते पे न जा रहे किसी और चीज। हमने आज यही मंशूरा से जहन में रख के आए कि हमें आज डेवलपमेंट पे ऊपर ज्यादा विश्वास रखना है और हमें वही बंदा इलेक्ट करना है जो हमारे लिए हम जो मंसूब अपने अंदर जागने की कोशिश कर रहे हैं वो मंसूब हमें मिले।
इससे पहले क्या देखा जा रहा था, ज्यादातर यूथ जो है इलेक्शंस में पार्टिसिपेट नहीं करते थे, लेकिन आज ज्यादातर पार्टिसिपेशन जो है यूथ की रहती है। तो इसके पीछे क्या वजह है, कब से ये जागरूकता जाग गई है एक आम इंसान में? ये जागरूकता मेरे हिसाब से 2019 से ही जागे हैं बंदे। अगर हम बात करेंगे जो यूथ था वो पूरा इस वक्त हंदवारा के, अगर यूथ की मैं बात करूंगा, मैं हंदवारा सब जिले से ही बिलोंग करता हूं, मेरा नाम हसीबुल हकदार है। और यूथ जो था वो एंगेज था दूसरी चीजों में, वो एंगेज थे ड्रग्स जैसी चीजों में। आज यूथ निकल के आए है कि आप खुद भी देख सकते हैं कि कश्मीर में कितनी बेरोजगारी है। बेरोजगारी कश्मीर में सबसे अरूज पे है इस वक्त, और सबसे बड़ा जो मेरा कंसर्न है कि हम करप्शन से भी लड़ना चाहते हैं। करप्शन इस वक्त कश्मीर में दूसरे नंबर पे, अगर बिहार की बात की जाए उसके बाद कश्मीर का दूसरा नंबर आता है। और हम यही चाहते हैं कि अल्लाह ताला हमारे ऊपर रहम करे और हम एक अच्छा कश्मीर देखने की ख्वाहिश रखते हैं हमारे लीडरों द्वारा, और जिसको हम इलेक्ट करेंगे वो अच्छा होगा। 10 साल के बाद ये इलेक्शंस हो रहे हैं, खास तौर पर अगर हम जम्मू कश्मीर असेंबली इलेक्शंस की बात करें तो कितनी खुशी है एक आम इंसान में, क्योंकि काफी देर से ये इलेक्शंस हुए।
हाँ, बहुत सारी खुशी है, क्योंकि हमने अभी तक अपनी, आपको ये भी पता है कि एलजी हुकूमत थी, हमें उस तरीके के फंड्स मिल रहे थे, लेकिन यहाँ पे नेग्लिजेंस जो हो रही थी किसी भी पार्टी की ओर से। लेकिन अभी हमें अल्लाह के फजल करम से हम एक अच्छी हुकूमत बनाएंगे। लोग ही डिसाइड करेंगे, मैं अकेला खुद डिसाइड नहीं करूंगा, लोग ही डिसाइड करेंगे, हंदवारा की आवाम डिसाइड करेगी। क्योंकि मैं टाउन से बिलोंग रखता हूँ और हमने आज ये तय कर लिया है कि हम एक अच्छी हुकूमत बनाने में अपना अहम रोल अदा करेंगे।
As you can see, Devika, these are the reactions which we are getting from the ground zero. We are at the Handwara polling station.
Okay, all right, Ashik, thank you so much for bringing us those voices. I'm going to quickly go across to our colleague Ajay Jandyal also, who's joining us on the broadcast with some voters' voices. Ajay, over to you.
Thank you, Devika, and definitely, after we have seen that it's 4 hours and polling is still continuously, happening, and those who were waiting for this assembly election, they basically seems very enthusiastic, and they are continuously reaching here and casting their vote. Let's speak to the people over here, those who just have came out after casting the vote. Sir, वोट डाल दिया है?
हाँ जी।
क्या कहेंगे, किन मुद्दों को लेकर, किन इश्यूज को लेकर जो है इस बार आप सरकार चुनेंगे अपनी?
बात यह है कि कुछ हमारे जो लोग हैं उनको जो वादे किए जाते हैं तो वो पहुंचने चाहिए, सिर्फ टीवी पर और अखबारों में नहीं आने चाहिए। उधर भी आए अच्छा, लेकिन ऑन ग्राउंड पहुंचने चाहिए।
ग्राउंड पे वादे जो है किए जाएं वो पूरे होने चाहिए। लेट्स स्पीक टू सम अदर वोटर्स एज वेल। सर, व्हाट आर द कोर इश्यूज फॉर व्हिच यू आर गोइंग टू बेसिकली elect?
Hygiene, health and hygiene.
So these are the major issues.
Yeah,
So what kind of candidate you are looking for?
from young candidates.
Some young candidate. सर, क्या लग रहा है, मुद्दे क्या हैं इस बार चुनाव?
Peace is the only issue in J&K. This is the most important.
Do you think the time which you have seen in last few years, that is something which convinced you to re-elect a government, or you are looking for something change?
We are looking for a change.
You want to change something, ma'am? क्या इश्यूज हैं जिनको लेकर एक गृहिणी आज जो है वो चुनाव में पार्टिसिपेट करेंगी?
Progress always remains an issue, employment progress. So these are the issues that I'm looking forward to. And I do welcome the changes that have happened in Jammu and Kashmir, and I'm going to vote accordingly.
You are going to vote accordingly. So these are the things which basically happening in the Jammu and Kashmir. We'll also speak to some other voters as well. If you see that the way basically things have happened in the Jammu and Kashmir as far as the last 10 years are concerned, abrogation of 370, delimitation in the Jammu and Kashmir, these are the issues which basically people are seeing, saying that these are the issues, and they are going to vote accordingly. Some people want the 370 to be back, and some want basically they are happy with the whatever happened after the abrogation of 370. We have with us one more person. क्या लग रहा है जो वोट डल रहे हैं आज, लोगों के मन में क्या है जिस चीज़ को लेकर लोग वोट डाल रहे हैं?
वोट डालना एक डेमोक्रेटिक राइट है, हर किसी का अपना हक बनता है, तो वोट डालना भी चाहिए। मगर अगर हमारी परिस्थिति में जाएंगे, भींगे कश्मीरी पड़े, तो मुझे समझ नहीं आ रहा कि 35 साल से मैं बाहर हूँ और 35 साल से मेरा वोट वहीं डल रहा है जहाँ से मुझे खदेड़ा गया है, जहाँ से मुझे निकाल, जहाँ मेरा जेनोसाइड हुआ है, उसको रिड्रेस नहीं कोई भी गवर्नमेंट कर रही, 35 साल से कोई कर नहीं रही है। और मुझे वही बार बार बोले जा रहा है वोट उसी को दे दो जो उस जेनोसाइड का मतलब जिम्मेवार है, चाहे वो एनसी हो, चाहे कांग्रेस हो, चाहे पीडीपी हो। यही तीन पार्टियां उस वक्त थी, एक होम मिनिस्टर था, दूसरे जम्मू कश्मीर सरकार चलाते थे। इनकी जिम्मेवारी बनते, जब इस चीज़ को रिड्रेस 35 साल में नहीं हुआ, ना कोई वाइट पेपर हुआ, ना पार्लियामेंट में कभी कोई कमेटी बिठाई, ना कुछ हुआ है, तो इसलिए हमारे वोट देने को ये एक मजबूरी हमारी है, मगर वोट देते हैं हम।
मगर जो मौजूदा सरकार है वो कह रही है कि हम सरकार में आए तो एक वाइट पेपर लाएंगे।
नहीं, जब लाएंगे उसके बाद हम बात करेंगे। जब लाया नहीं आज 10 साल तक, तो हम कैसे बोलेंगे? हम उम्मीद करते हैं, हमें उम्मीद है, क्योंकि विश्वसनीय प्रधानमंत्री है। अगर यूक्रेन को उसकी मतलब उसके साथ मतलब यूक्रेन को एक सहानुभूति है कि मोदी जी कुछ करेगा, अगर गाजा को है, अगर लेबनान को है, तो हम कश्मीरी पंडित, हम इसी देश के वासी हैं, हमारा रिश्ता है इस देश के साथ, हमें तो पूरी उम्मीद होनी चाहिए।
There we were it. Ashik and Ajay, thank you so much for joining us on the broadcast with those voters' voices. Let me bring in our panelists at this point in time. We have Professor Madhav Nalappa, the editorial director of the Sunday Guardian. I also have with me Sujata Paul of the Congress and Shivam Chabra of the BJP. Let me begin with Professor Nalappa. Professor Nalappa, in your assessment, what will be the deciding factors for this election?
Look, I am happy to say that you can see that the young people of Kashmir understand that the future is in jobs, future is in better amenities, better facilities, and of course there is a huge amount of corruption that took place in Kashmir for all these decades, and that is one of the primary causes, frankly, why you had so much of instability there, because corruption unfortunately is not discriminatory. People who are corrupt can be corrupt in the pay of anti-national elements as well, and unfortunately some people could not resist that temptation. Money was so important to them that anti-national forces were able to use them for their own purposes. And some of these people have been very high up. And frankly, the level of accountability in Kashmir for this kind of activity has been very low for a very long time. In fact, for a very long time, I would like to say that the central agencies, the ED, the IT, DRI, none of them functioned in Kashmir. Now, as a consequence, people in Kashmir could do what they liked, some of the people. And that culture of complete indifference to the law became very deep-rooted. So after the removal of Article 370, that situation has changed, and the responsible agencies have become empowered in the same way they are in other parts of the country. And I think that will make a very big change in the overall atmosphere in Kashmir. Again, I repeat, Devika, the main point is good governance and lack of corruption. These are the main points that everybody wants, especially the youth. And I'm heartened to see so many young people coming and participating and exercising their choice as to which of the candidates they believe will best bring about the result of better governance and lesser corruption.
Thank you, Devika.
Okay, I bring Shivam Chabra into the conversation. Shivam Chabra, has the BJP then done enough after the abrogation of Article 370 to convince the voter on the ground that they are the right choice?
See, I think, Devika, if I say the election process that is being happening right now in 2024, how it is different from other election processes that has been there, it is the first election that is happened. I mean, that is actually taking place without any violence. That's a big achievement, don't you think so? After the abrogation of Article 370 and 35A, it's absolutely it's actually heartwarming to see the kind of democracy that is flourishing in Jammu and Kashmir. People of Jammu and Kashmir, as rightly pointed out Professor Madhav Nalapur, that people of Jammu and Kashmir are willing to have a state which is peaceful and prosperous. They want jobs, they want work, they want development that is actually taking place. And I think the kind of tourism that has taken a toll. I mean, I think the people, because Jammu Kashmir generally depends a lot on tourism. And I think people there are dependent on tourism as industry, I would say, how it flourishes. So I would say the kind of toll that has taken out there, the increase in tourism during these days, is completely reflected the fact that the state of Jammu and Kashmir is a peaceful one. And yes, people are looking forward to going to Jammu and Kashmir for a good holiday. So I think these are all signs of basically prosperity that is coming towards Kashmir. Yes, and most importantly, the way extremism has gone down, the way terrorism has gone down. There is no cross-border terrorism as of now in Jammu and Kashmir, except probably I would say one of districts, and I think that too is unconfirmed because it is more of a terrorism, or maybe I would say extremists who are based out there are trying to create a problem out there. But I think cross-border terrorism is absolutely still no. So all these are signs of prosperity, and I think people of Jammu and Kashmir are sensible and smart enough to vote for a government who is progressive, who wants the Jammu and Kashmir to progress the way the country is progressing, who wants that the states of Jammu and Kashmir also is a beneficiary of various national and central schemes, just like the other states of this country are. So it's a very, very happy picture to be seen, and I think I would say the people of Kashmir are enjoying democracy, leaving behind violence, going towards prosperity and progressiveness.
Okay, I want to bring Zishan Rana into the conversation. Zishan Rana, as far as the entry of independence is concerned, some people do believe that this has muddied the waters for both the NCP, for the regional parties JKNC and the PDP, as well as the Congress, which is an alliance with the NC in Kashmir. How do you view this analysis?
Yeah, you have multiple people participating in electoral process, and that is a welcome step. But I don't think that will have any impact on the JKNC's mandate, because people are clear their mandate, which on the first and the second phase, which we are getting, we are hopeful that we are going to form the government with brute majority. And in the recently concluded parliamentary elections, we were leading in 35 assembly constituencies of Jammu and Kashmir out of 47. I'm sorry to say, but out of 53 constituencies in which the Jammu and Kashmir National Conference directly participated. So I would say that these independents will not have any impact on the mandate which the Jammu and Kashmir National Conference is going to get.
Sujata Paul, same question to you. How do you view this analysis that the entry of a lot of independents as well as other smaller regional players has possibly become an advantage for the BJP, the division of the vote share in Kashmir?
The BJP has deliberately planted these independents, but like the previous panelists, I too agree that the people of Jammu and Kashmir have made up their mind, and they are going to vote clearly for the person they know that is going to give them a stable government, and that person will belong to the Indian National Congress and the National Conference. And people are very clear on that, because if you look at Kashmir, the BJP has really not fielded anybody over there. And that is why they have a whole lot of independents to basically cut votes. What the people of, whether it's Jammu part or Kashmir part, they are more bothered about restoration of their rights, which will happen only when statehood is restored to them. It will happen when they get redressal for their grievances, which include unemployment. Unemployment today is the biggest issue, and because of which there is also the problem of running your household. So the Congress party, for example, has promised, has given 7 guarantees, whether it is the women, whether it is the youth, whether it is statehood, whether it is the backward classes, whether it is the Kashmiri Pandits. And you know, Kashmiri Pandits have been targeted, and my friend from the BJP just spoke about how there was peace in Jammu and Kashmir. May I remind him that since 2021, there have been 33 attacks in the Jammu region. How come this has happened in a region where there were no terrorist attacks earlier? And these include Rajouri, Poonch, Riyasi, Kathua, Udhampur, Doda. And and if I talk about only 2024, there have been 8 attacks. So how is it that there are people who are dying in this region where there was peace earlier? And when you have a complete lockdown of a state, obviously people's jobs are going to get affected, their businesses are going to get affected. So MSMEs, smaller businessmen, they have been destroyed completely by the BJP. And when you talk about tourism, he himself admitted that it has taken a toll on tourism. What has taken a toll on tourism? This non-governance, people not having their own government. And that is why the Congress party has promised that the 1 lakh vacant posts in government jobs, they are going to be filled up. And these should have been done in these more than 5 years by the BJP if they really had control over the situation. The medical insurance is going to reduce the burden, both mental and financial, for the people of Jammu and Kashmir, which we have promised if we come into power. That is 25 lakh medical insurance, which is going to be exactly same as the one that we gave in Rajasthan. We are going to not just provide jobs, we are also going to make sure that the women of every household is empowered, and that will empower the entire family.
Okay, Shivam Chhabra, I give you a chance to respond to that.
A party with zero credibility cannot promise things for Jammu and Kashmir. People of Rajasthan have given them their right place in the previous assembly elections. Same goes for Madhya Pradesh and Chhattisgarh, and I think it's going to be repeated in Haryana and let us say Jammu and Kashmir. As far as the other thing you are saying that what is interesting to see is, Devika, the so-called grand old party depends on crutches of the regional parties, and I think the nature of the regional parties, which is I would say in Jammu and Kashmir, are all people of Jammu and Kashmir are fed up with this kind of a family-run political outfits, and they want actual and real democracy to flourish. You need to be reminded of this fact. And I think, I don't know how to respond to this. Maybe I am not the right person to respond to it. But the people of Jammu and Kashmir widely say, and they very, very, prominently say that the tourism has actually risen. And now Sujata ji wants to basically counter on it. Then it is complete to her to probably, close their eyes whenever some good things happening there in Kashmir. But it's absolutely okay to be not a problem, because people of Jammu and Kashmir are feeling and the fact that yes, tourism has given a great boost to the employment opportunities in the state. The third thing of the statehood, as Sujata ji is saying, I must remind, and I must say it with full responsibility, Bharatiya Janata Party is committed to deliver full statehood to Jammu and Kashmir. It is just the situation and scenarios in the state, because actually I would say कैंसर का इलाज हुआ है, कीमोथेरेपी हो चुकी है, हम अभी रिकवरी मोड में हैं. कृपया करके थोड़ा प्रतीक्षा करें. have some patience. We will certainly deliver. I mean, we are basically going through the democratic festival. Elections are happening. The people of Jammu and Kashmir are going to choose their own chief minister. There is no problem about it. Let's not make a issue out of a small thing, I would say. Yes, the rights and the responsibilities to be ensured for the people of Jammu and Kashmir are first and foremost, and we will deliver it. There is no problem about it. I mean, it's just the line.
Okay, Professor Nalapat, one second.
Can I respond?
Sujata Paul, 1 second, please. I want to bring in Professor Nalapat into the conversation. Professor Nalapat, as far as the promises of the parties are concerned, do you feel that the BJP has perhaps done enough in the past 5 years to convince the voters that they would be the right choice to go ahead, or that they are the face of the change in Jammu and Kashmir?
Well, I'd like to say that in my view, Article 370 removal was a good decision. There's no question about it. And I'd also like to say that 70 years have shown that violence brings nothing except, frankly, misery among the people. You are seeing in nearby parts of the world what has happened when groups that are committed to violence take over certain territories, and what is happening to them and what is happening to the people of those territories. They are suffering indescribably, and that's all that violence does. As Mahatma Gandhi said, an eye for an eye makes the whole world go blind. Violence, if it's followed by violence and more violence and more violence, and finally society just melts down. And we are seeing that happen in real time on our television screens, in our newspaper headlines, not so far away from India. And we are seeing this happen in nearby Pakistan, where you have, unfortunately, a situation where you have a lot of violence taking place, both by the authorities and as a consequence, a reaction. And you are seeing what is happening to Pakistan. I mean, what is happening to the Pakistani economy, for example. So I would like to say that one thing is very, very clear. And that one thing is that violence is absolutely no solution to any of the genuine problems of people anywhere. And these problems are housing, health, jobs, education, and very importantly, gender empowerment. I would like to see more women in some of these lines. I mean, I think we had very few visuals of that, but the few visuals I've seen, I couldn't locate too many women. I hope women also come out in large numbers, because gender empowerment and gender equality is a fundamental necessity for a happy life and a prosperous life, Devika.
Okay, Sujata Paul wanted to come in. Sujata Paul.
Yes. I'm really surprised that my friend from the BJP spoke about how Congress party relies on the crutches of regional parties. Well, the BJP is dictatorial, and he has admitted that you do not have any respect for regional parties. That is the beauty of democracy, to have regional parties and to allow them also to rise. However, Mr. J.P. Nadda did say that he would finish off the JDU, and that is why the JDU had broken off from them. Second point is that he just spoke about the toll on tourism, and then he has retracted from that, and that is surprising. He has not answered about how there has been peace in the Jammu region, which I asked him specifically about. There is data to prove that there have been 33 attacks in the Jammu region since 2021. Why doesn't he answer that? And it's all very well to talk about how there should be peace, but a peaceful protest of Sonam Wangchuk, which has been stopped at the borders of Delhi by Prime Minister Modi because he's scared of peaceful protest. This is the land of Gandhi. And in the land of Gandhi, you don't talk about Pakistan, but the BJP didn't bring him in. I am surprised that Professor Nalpat had to bring in Pakistan. We should not be talking about them. We should be talking about ourselves, about our country, about the elections in Jammu and Kashmir. That is the priority.
No, madam, it is a warning. That's all. These countries are warnings to our people, because today the world is there. The world is clear, and no one can retreat into a shell.
Such a small country, let us forget them and let us talk about ourselves and the strength that we have as a nation. We are a powerful nation.
Well, thank you. I agree.
That's a treat to hear from the Congress party. They want us to forget about Pakistan. Excellent. But Shivam Chabra, bring you into the conversation. Shivam, how no pertinent points that raised by Sujata Paul as far as the rise of terror attacks in Jammu region is concerned.
I fail to understand what made Sujata ji basically very startled to when Professor Nalapar raised about Pakistan. He was only referring to the fact, the kind of conditions that have prevailed in Pakistan, Bangladesh, and I mean all neighboring countries, I would say. I think for Sri Lanka also. The kind of, I would say, I mean, there could be n reasons to it, the way they have reacted to their own elected governments. But the fact of the matter is, if you are trying to promote so-called violence in any of the countries, it is ultimately going to be disastrous to the entire country. Let us not forget the fact. But anyways, I mean, I'm only saying that the people of Jammu and Kashmir, after the abrogation of 370 and 35A, have realized the fact that they've got more powers than it was only, during the previous regimes. And I think 70 years, or past 70 years more than that, the way the state of Jammu and Kashmir was treated by the previous governments have been complete distortion. I mean, they have ensured that, a country maybe, having both, I would say, different flags for the country, different flags for the state, a different constitution altogether for Jammu and Kashmir. So these are all positives which have actually come out. And I mean, she was raising a point on violence, and the entire 1, 2, 3 phase, this is third phase happening right now in Jammu and Kashmir. If this has gone very, very peaceful, how do you think, how do you say, how do you probably come down to this kind of a conclusion that there is not peace in the state? So there used to be stone pelting in
2024. There have been 8 attacks in which 11 soldiers have died and 18 people have been injured. I'm asking you, in the first 6 months, there have been 12 civilian deaths. How come?
We are in recovery mode, ma'am.
No, what do you mean you are in recovery mode? People's lives are not important. And this is happening in Jammu.
Cancer was created by you.
I am talking about the Jammu region where this never happened earlier. Why are terror attacks happening in the Doda region,
Let me remind you,
Okay, I'm going to, okay, one second, Shivam Chabra, Sujata Paul, you're both talking over each other.
That the chemotherapy was done.
No, he's talking about cancer, chemotherapy.
Don't get too perturbed by these.
Okay, all right. Okay, Zishan Rana wants to make a point. One second, Sujata Paul, Shivam Chabra, 1 second. Zishan Rana, come in.
I completely fall in line with the sentiment. But the fact of
Shivam, 1 second. Zishan Rana wanted to make a point. You're both talking over each other. 1 second.
Lack of compassion.
No, I don't need any certification from Congress party.
Okay, all right. Zishan Rana.
Such lack of compassion.
Sujata Paul, Shivam Chabra, if I'm going to request you to stop talking.
But I don't need any certification.
Yes, let's not get into all of these now. This is a waste of time, please. No waste of time. Don't do all of this. I need a certificate and empathy and sympathy, please. Let's not waste everyone's time. Zishan Rana wants to make a point. Can we mute the speakers, please? Can we mute the speakers who are not following? Thank you, Zishan Rana.
No. Please, don't take a convenient position on that.
No. Am I audible?
Yes.
First of all, I would like to say that BJP always has a habit of running away from real issues. They are taking credit of what is happening in Jammu and Kashmir today. Let me remind them that even in 2014, when J&K National Conference was in the power, from 2008 and 2014, we had 65% of voter turnout, which was, I would say that higher than the usual voting percentage in other states of the country. So they are taking, now in the first phase, we had around 61% of voter turnout. In the last phase, we had around 57%. And we have to wait till 7 p.m. to see how today's performance of the people was. But BJP taking credit of everything is not acceptable, because they halted this process for 6 years. They did not give the people of Jammu and Kashmir a chance in the last 6 years to have their own elected government. And now suddenly, when the Supreme Court intervened and the election commission decided about the elections, and they have started taking credit of these elections people falling in line and they casting their votes and the BJP taking credit of it. This is totally not acceptable. And I must say that what is happening in Jammu and Kashmir, especially in Jammu region, in the last 3 years, how many soldiers have been killed? Even in my region, in Rajouri Poonch, how many soldiers have been martyred? And that is a question, and that marks a question on BJP's policy. And somewhere we have seen that that violence has increased in Jammu region. And BJP, they have started taking credit after 2019 that everything is going very smoothly in Jammu and Kashmir. That is not the case.
All right. Okay, I've unfortunately run out of time. I'm going to have to thank all of our panelists for joining us. Of course, some pertaining questions remain for the BJP to answer, but we will, of course, come back on the other side with our coverage of the Jammu and Kashmir election. Stay tuned.